Respect starts with the boundaries you refuse to let people cross. That's the foundation, the blueprint, the quiet line between who you used to be and who you're becoming. And a lot of people don't understand this because they've spent so long giving access to folks who never earned it. They confuse love with loyalty, loyalty with tolerance, and tolerance with allowing disrespect. But the truth is simple. The world only treats you the way you allow it to. See, boundaries ain't walls. They're not about shutting life out. They're about keeping your peace intact, your energy sacred, your spirit in alignment. When you finally learn to say no, not from anger, but from a place of self-worth, you start seeing everything differently. People you thought would stand with you forever start getting uncomfortable. And the funny part, that discomfort isn't about you changing. It's about them losing the old version of you they could manipulate. You got to understand something real. The moment you draw a line, toxic people feel it before you even speak it. That's why they push harder, test you more, try to pull you back into the old patterns. They don't want you strong. They don't want you aware. They don't want you realizing that your time, energy, and heart are valuable. Because once you see your own value, you stop letting them discount it. Boundaries are how you teach the world what your respect costs. Not in money, in access. Every time you let someone talk to you any type of way, you're silently signing a contract that says, this is okay. Every time you let someone drain you emotionally, you're telling them you can come back for more. But the moment you stand firm and refuse to let them cross that line again, you rewrite the entire agreement. You shift the power back where it belongs, with you. And don't get it twisted. This ain't about being cold. This ain't about acting tough. It's about honoring yourself enough to protect your peace like it's treasure. Because it is. You only get one mind, one heart, one soul. Letting people walk through your life with dirty feet ain't noble. It's self-neglect. And the longer you let it slide, the deeper the damage becomes. That's why growth feels lonely sometimes. That's why setting boundaries feels heavy. But that weight you feel, that's just you leveling up, shedding the old version of yourself. There will always be people who act like your boundaries are disrespect. But that's because they benefited from you having none. They liked the version of you that swallowed pain to keep connections alive, that accepted excuses instead of accountability, that let people return after causing damage without offering change. When you stop allowing that, they'll call you difficult, distant, different. Wear that proudly. Growth looks like disobedience to the wrong crowd. But here's the shift. Once you start protecting your space, you attract people who respect it. Real ones don't get intimidated by your standards. They rise to meet them. They don't get offended when you say you need peace, time, or distance. They understand it because they protect their own too. Boundaries filter your life. They remove the people who only love the version of you that served them and make space for the ones who love the version of you that serves your future. You got to remember, respect is not demanded, it's demonstrated. And the clearest demonstration is your standards. Not the ones you talk about, the ones you enforce. When you choose calm over chaos, purpose over pettiness, healing over repeating cycles, you're showing the world how to treat you without saying a single word. That's powerful. That's growth. That's self-respect. And the crazy part, once you truly lock into this mindset, you stop fearing the loss of people. You start fearing the loss of yourself. Because you know every time you break your own boundaries to keep someone around, you're sacrificing pieces of your future for the comfort of your past. That's a trade you can't afford anymore. So keep that line drawn. Keep your energy protected. Keep your standards rooted. Respect starts with the boundaries you refuse to let people cross. And the moment you honor that, everything in your life starts rising to match it. You're not just demanding better, you're becoming better. And once you become better, you stop accepting anything less. Toxic people lose power the moment you stop seeking their approval. And that's a truth most people don't learn until life forces them to. See, a lot of us grow up thinking validation is fuel, thinking acceptance is survival, thinking we gotta keep certain people happy just to keep the peace. But the older you get, the more you realize peace ain't something you get from others. Peace is something you build inside yourself. And the second you stop looking at toxic people like they got something you need, that whole illusion falls apart, because approval is a form of control. The moment you start chasing it, you start shrinking, you start bending, you start molding yourself into whatever shape makes them clap for you. And toxic people love that. They love knowing their opinion can move you, change you, shake you. They love seeing you dim your light to keep their ego lit. They love being the center of your decisions. But the second you pull back and say, I'm done performing for you, they lose their grip. You gotta understand, toxic people feed off the idea that you still care what they think. That's why they criticize you, not to help but to weaken. That's why they make you doubt yourself, not to guide but to control. That's why they act cold one day and warm the next. It keeps you guessing, keeps you checking, keeps you trying. It's a strategy, a silent one, a manipulative one. They don't need to say anything. Their inconsistency is the hook. But when you reach the point where their opinions don't sway you, something shifts inside you. You stop over-explaining. You stop apologizing for things that aren't your fault. You stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself. That's when your power returns. That's when you step into a version of you they can't influence anymore. And trust me, nothing scares a toxic person more than you realizing you don't need them. When you stop seeking their approval, you start trusting your own judgment more. You start making moves based on your goals, not their reactions. You start choosing circles that see your value instead of those that question it. You start walking with your head up because you're not waiting for someone else to tell you who you are. That's real strength. Not loud, not aggressive, but rooted. And this is the part people don't always talk about. When you detach from their approval, they panic. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you changed. They'll act like you're the problem now. But that's just the sound of their control slipping away. That's them realizing they can't pull the same strings anymore. Don't let that noise pull you back. Growth always feels like betrayal to the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries. You have to remember, every time you seek approval from someone toxic, you hand them a piece of yourself, a piece of your confidence, a piece of your identity, a piece of your voice. But the beauty is, you can take those pieces back. You don't need their permission. You don't need their blessing. You don't need them to clap for you when you win. You can clap for yourself. That's the mindset shift. When you stop looking outward for acceptance, you start looking inward for alignment. And alignment builds a different kind of confidence. One that can't be shaken by opinions. One that doesn't crumble under criticism. One that doesn't disappear in the presence of toxic energy. You start shining in a way that doesn't need spotlight or approval. It's self-made, self-fed, self-owned. And listen, the world responds differently to someone who's no longer controlled by validation. You walk into rooms differently. You talk differently. You make decisions differently. You choose people differently. You protect your energy like it's currency. And toxic people, they can't function around someone who's unlocked that level of awareness. So let them think whatever they want. Let them talk. Let them misjudge you. Let them misunderstand you. None of it matters when you're rooted in who you are. Approval is temporary. Self-respect is permanent. Toxic people lose power the moment you stop seeking their approval, because that's the exact moment you realize the only approval you ever needed was your own. And once you tap into that, nobody can control you. Nobody can shake you. Nobody can dim you. You become something they can't manipulate anymore. You become untouchable. Your self-worth is built by the choices you make when nobody is watching. That's the real truth people don't talk about enough. See, it's easy to look solid when eyes are on you. It's easy to act disciplined when someone's checking. It's easy to speak confidence when there's applause in the room. But who are you when it's quiet? Who are you when the lights shut off and the world stops clapping? That's the version of you that determines everything, because the foundation of self-worth ain't built in public. It's built in the silent moments. When you're tired, when you're tempted, when nobody would know the difference if you cut corners. Those moments shape your character. Those moments decide your direction. And those moments separate the ones who talk elevation from the ones who live it. People forget this self-worth is not something someone hands you. It's not based on compliments or validation. It grows from self-trust. And self-trust only comes from doing the things you said you would do, especially when nobody can hold you accountable but you. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you tell yourself, I'm worth the effort. Every time you stay loyal to your values, even when nobody would catch you slipping, you tell yourself, I'm solid. That's how self-worth is built. Choice by choice, brick by brick. And it's wild how the smallest decisions echo the loudest inside you. Waking up early to chase your vision. Walking away from conversations that drain your peace. Not texting back someone who keeps you stuck. Putting in work when your feelings tell you not to. These choices might look small on the outside, but internally they're huge. They're you telling your mind, I'm serious about my life. When you live this way, you stop negotiating with your potential. You stop doubting your path. You stop feeling like you need to pretend for anyone. Because when you know you're putting in the work behind the scenes, you carry a different presence, a quiet confidence, a grounded energy, not loud, not flashy, but undeniable. And let's be real, the reason so many people feel empty is because they know they've been breaking promises to themselves. They've been going against their own spirit just to please people who don't care. They've been choosing shortcuts over integrity. And deep down, that eats at your self-worth. You can't fool yourself. You can post the wins, you can talk big, you can look successful. But if you know you've been cutting corners when it's quiet, your soul won't respect you. But the beautiful part, you can rebuild that. Self-worth isn't fixed, it's earned daily. And you earn it through consistency, through choosing your future over your impulses, through doing the right thing when nobody's around to applaud it. That's how you gain a real kind of confidence. The kind that comes from alignment, not attention. And once you build that internal value, everything around you shifts. You stop chasing people. You stop accepting the bare minimum. You stop being scared to leave situations that stunt your growth. Because when you respect yourself internally, you stop tolerating anything that disrespects you externally. Your standards rise. Your boundaries tighten. Your energy becomes selective. And your life starts reflecting everything you've been building in private. People will look at you and say, what changed? But the truth is, the change happened long before it was visible. It happened in the unseen moments, the silent battles, the private decisions. That's where strength is born. That's where character forms. That's where self-worth is created. So keep choosing the higher version of yourself, even when nobody sees it. Keep showing up, even when nobody claps. Keep walking the path, even when the road feels empty. Because the work you put in behind the scenes becomes the results you walk with in public. Your self-worth is built by the choices you make when nobody is watching. And the more those choices honor your purpose, the more unbreakable, undeniable, and unstoppable you become. Distance is not disrespect. It's protection of your peace. And most people don't understand that because they confuse withdrawal with rejection. They think stepping back means you've lost love or loyalty. But the truth is deeper than that. Distance is about clarity. Distance is about strength. Distance is about understanding that not every energy in your life deserves access to your mind, your heart, or your time. Peace is rare, and you don't hand it out to people who treat it like it's disposable. See, toxic energy is like a weight. It doesn't always hit you all at once. Sometimes it's subtle. Small comments, micro attacks, little betrayals that build up over time. And if you let it sit in your space, if you let it linger in your thoughts, it begins to shape your life. Your mind starts bending, your heart starts questioning, and your soul starts shrinking. That's why distance is necessary. Not because you hate them, not because you're petty, but because you value yourself enough to not let their chaos become your lifestyle. People will always misread your boundaries as coldness. They'll label your silence as arrogance. They'll say you changed or you're no longer the person they knew. But real growth doesn't come with explanations. Growth comes with understanding that your energy is your responsibility. You owe it to yourself to surround yourself with people who lift, not drain. You owe it to yourself to create a space where your spirit can breathe. That's why distance is protection, not disrespect. And let me tell you something, setting distance is never easy. It feels heavy. It feels lonely at first. You feel like you're missing out, like you're abandoning relationships. But that's just the fear talking, because peace is a prize you only get when you're willing to prioritize your inner calm over the approval of others. You see, toxic people will test you. They'll push for attention. They'll try to pull you back into old cycles. But when you hold firm, you're sending a message: my peace is non-negotiable. My boundaries are sacred. My mind is mine. Distance also creates perspective. When you step back, you start seeing people for who they really are, not who you wish they were. You notice patterns. You notice motives. You notice the subtle ways they affect your energy. And that knowledge is powerful because it allows you to make conscious decisions about the people you allow in your circle. Once you see clearly, you stop wasting time on people who were never meant to support your growth. You start investing in the ones who respect your journey, who honor your time, and who raise your energy. And peace isn't just about avoiding toxicity. It's about cultivating clarity and focus. When you protect your space, you create room to build, to grind, to elevate. You give yourself permission to focus on your purpose without distraction. You allow yourself to think, plan, and execute at a higher level. That's why distance isn't a punishment for anyone else. It's an investment in yourself. It's the quiet power move that keeps your mind sharp and your heart steady. Sometimes people will feel rejected by your distance. They'll think you don't care, but true self-respect doesn't require constant validation. True growth doesn't need applause. It thrives in silence, in discipline, in the choices you make to prioritize your peace over their expectations. And the more you practice that, the more resilient you become, the more unshakable your presence, the more untouchable your energy. Distance also teaches people lessons they won't learn any other way. It shows them that their behavior has consequences. It shows them that your kindness and patience have limits. And most importantly, it shows them that you value yourself more than temporary comfort or unnecessary conflict. That's a level of self-respect that can't be negotiated. So remember, walking away, stepping back, limiting access. These aren't signs of disrespect. They're acts of self-preservation. They're declarations of your worth. They're statements that your energy, your mind, your heart, and your peace are sacred and non-negotiable. And the more you embrace that truth, the more you realize that distance isn't empty. It's powerful. It's strategic. It's necessary. Protect your space. Guard your mind. Honor your peace. Distance is not disrespect. It's your most powerful tool for self-respect, growth, and elevation. Once you own that, the world has no choice but to respect the energy you bring. When you elevate your mindset, the wrong people will remove themselves. And that's a truth most people don't realize until they start growing. Growth is uncomfortable. Elevation is disruptive. When you raise your standards, when you start thinking bigger, acting wiser, moving with purpose, the energy around you has to match or it becomes incompatible. And the people who thrive on your stagnation, who benefit from your distractions, who feed off your insecurities, they can't keep up. They don't want to. And eventually, they walk away or you have to let them go. See, mindset is like a frequency. When you're operating on a higher level, when you're focused on abundance instead of lack, discipline instead of indulgence, vision instead of short-term comfort, you start vibrating differently. And energy recognizes energy. The ones who align with that vibration stay close. The ones who don't, they become distant. And that's natural. That's not rejection. That's life filtering itself for you. That's your circle catching up to your growth, whether they want to or not. A lot of people fear this process because they confuse loyalty with toxicity. They think if someone leaves, it's a failure, a betrayal, a loss. But the truth is, when you elevate, you reveal the true character of everyone around you. People who can't handle your growth, who resent your ambition, who are threatened by your progress, they remove themselves. And honestly, that's a blessing because space has to be made for the people who actually belong on your level. People who can rise with you, who can support your vision, who can bring positive energy instead of draining it. And let's get real. Elevating your mindset isn't just about financial growth or career moves. It's about how you think, how you respond, how you see yourself and others. It's about discipline in your habits, consistency in your actions, and clarity in your purpose. The wrong people will feel threatened by that because their comfort zones are smaller than your ambition. They can't see beyond the limits they've imposed on themselves, and your rise exposes those limitations. That discomfort forces them to move away. When you stop lowering yourself to accommodate others' weaknesses, you start attracting strength. You start drawing people who reflect your energy. You start creating an environment that nurtures your goals instead of sabotaging them. And the beauty of it, you don't have to force anyone to stay. You don't have to explain yourself. You just elevate and the world responds accordingly. The wrong people fall off naturally and the right people step forward. It's automatic, it's organic, it's powerful. People who remain on your path when you elevate are the ones who truly belong. They aren't intimidated by your success. They aren't resentful of your progress. They celebrate it. They inspire it. They push you to go further. And the ones who leave, that's life clearing the noise so you can focus on your purpose. That's the universe showing you that not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Elevation also changes your perspective. You stop chasing approval. You stop trying to please. You stop bending to fit someone else's expectations. You start making decisions based on your values, your vision, and your integrity. And that level of clarity makes it impossible for the wrong people to stay in your life because your path no longer intersects with their agenda. They can't operate on your frequency, and you stop compromising to meet theirs. And the most important part, when the wrong people remove themselves, you realize it wasn't about them leaving. It was about you leveling up. It was about you creating an environment where only growth, loyalty, and positive energy can thrive. That's a powerful lesson. That progress isn't meant to be comfortable, and alignment isn't negotiable. The wrong people leaving isn't a loss. It's a sign that your life is finally in order. So elevate your mindset. Raise your standards. Sharpen your focus. Refuse to settle for anything less than the level of life you're capable of creating. And watch how naturally the wrong people fall off. They can't keep up, and that's exactly how it should be. Because once you operate at a higher frequency, your life will start attracting the right people, the right opportunities, and the right energy effortlessly. Your elevation is your power. Your clarity is your protection. And when you fully embrace that, the wrong people removing themselves isn't something to fear. It's the proof that you're moving in the right direction. And nothing and no one should hold you back from the level you're destined to reach.